Welcome to the free audio rendering of Not Without Scars 2. Such an insightful and impactful work must be accessible to the countless number of people living similar life experiences. Becoming a best-selling author pales in comparison to creating a tool capable of instilling hope in the multitude of people trapped in the valley of decision. My greatest profit comes in helping others emerge victorious over their life struggles. My goal is to encourage individuals to follow their dream. My message: you must never quit on your faith, pursuing your aspiration or vision. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take a moment, invite your family, friends and acquaintances, and enemies to listen to this work chapter by chapter. It is free to listen as well as free to subscribe. Peace, love, and phenomenal blessing.
How do I write my life story? I know hurt and pain. I don't like either one, whether physical or emotional. Herein contains my story, Not Without Scars, Part 2. Optimism, perseverance, persistence, resilience. 2 decades of personal struggle. Optimism. I faced the new millennium with hopefulness. Perseverance. My ego, my humble beginnings, my desire to achieve never allow me to turn away from a difficult task. Persistence. Opposition should be anticipated as an effective strategy to victory surfaces. Resilience. Difficulties do not automatically spell termination. Scars reveal my imperfection as reminders of past episodes of pain, sorrow, or triumph. Scars can tell beautiful story endings or relay misery that wishes to remain anonymous. This work is meant to help others who have experienced decades of struggle. When struggles appear to never end, you must get through the night and face the challenge of a new dawn with fresh hope.
Chapter 19. The manuscripts that produce the thread of life. Introduction. I am a writer and author. In order to be what or who I say I am, I must do what I say that I have the capacity to perform. I have to deliver a product that will substantiate what I have stated that I have the qualifications to deliver. In that delivery, there has to contain an embodiment of my soul and spirit, future and hope, with practicality and realism. Fresh ideas and new concepts have to mesh with possibilities and desires. My spirit became the inspiration of a ready writer. My soul brewed the true essence of a raw writer, and the environment demanded the discipline to stay focused in an unnatural setting for creativity. When all aspects of life are controlled by a definitive time, consistency, and rigid regiment, the creative demands on the psyche form an unprecedented atmosphere for skilled outcomes or spiritual revelation. 4 o'clock a.m. count, 4 o'clock p.m. count, and 9 o'clock p.m. counts have the priority over movements and operation within prison institutions. The mandatory account assures that all inmates are in their required locations. All activities are ceased until the counts have cleared. Add to these mandatory counts work call time, meal time, designated recreation time. Every moment of a prisoner's day has to be accounted for. Therefore, I had created a discipline within myself to be myself in whatever hours that I secured outside the designated activities as scheduled by the institution. I had no idea what would flow from my head into my hands. I simply knew this was the perfect timing to place in organized documentation many of the experiences that had come my way. It was also the point of setting in print the concepts and ideas that I felt I would have long-term and generational value to Black people and of society. There was also the deeply personal side of wanting to pen my thoughts for the future leaders to reflect upon. I once stated to my political mentor, Arnold Pinckney, Arnold, I'm not trying to rush you off the planet, but in the chronological scheme of things, you should transition before me. Would it not be in the best interest of the community for you to provide me the link to all your ties so there will not be a dearth of connections within our community? He would always laugh and reply, Mark, you are smart, you will get it. My words became a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. We were working on the Arnold R. Pinckney Public Policy Institute at the time of his demise. Now, I had undertaken the pen to make sure any idea of pertinence that I may have had would not be lost. Someone in the future may find my words of significant importance and serve as a foundation to build upon. I hope my words will actualize into a lamp for some and shine as a light unto the path of others. My desire through my penmanship was to present a blueprint of sorts to ignite future thinkers to ascertain a march by faith that would defy both logic and natural sense of perception. Black people, who are often labeled imperfect people and impoverished people, will overcome in their lives the daily symmetrical acts of oppression. Lofty elitist thinking and pinnacle selectionists will never pronounce intentions of power sharing, wealth redistribution, land allotment, natural resource equality sharing, or acts of amicableness toward those they have deemed to be of lesser status. Therefore, the words that I pen must have a specificity to bring about life as well as condemn divisive rhetoric. These pen words must also reveal a strategic approach to the implementation of justice and equality in a peaceful coexistence framework. Historical. If you stop struggling, then you stop life. Huey Newton. Finding a way to cope and hope with purpose. From the 1960 Black Power civil rights movement to Superfly and the abandonment of the revolutionary spirit revealed the evidence of a people who stopped struggling. The struggle for the collaborative advancement of Black people began grinding to a slowdown of collective progress. The arrival of multiple individual success stories and the false thoughts of working within the system will result in wholesale changes. These actions resulted in the desensitizing of the need to continue to push for all Black people. The Black struggle was whitewashed by the belief in the power of the vote. So many gave their all for the participation at the ballot box. The vote is important, but the change from within the system by joining the system is ludicrous. Once you become a part of the system, your inclusion and efforts will only make the system stronger. Jackie Robinson's inclusion in the major league did not strengthen the Negro Baseball League. His name was on the roster of the Brooklyn Dodgers, ushered in the demise of the Negro Baseball League, along with the financial collapse of the economic system that supported the Negro League. Hotels, restaurants, stadiums, and all other ancillary businesses were lost. The inclusion of Jackie Robinson cost the Black community an entire industry. A one-dimensional struggle dooms itself to failure. Any long-term struggle must have external pressure to foster significant gains within the system. When individuals begin to speak instead of the people, designated leaders are chosen by the system. Once the designated leaders have been issued their crown, their roles are clearly defined. A script to read follows much like the character in Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. The rush toward individual inclusion has made for the greater exclusion of the Black community. The training of the brightest Black individuals to secure jobs for the corporate structure rather than being trained to develop industries has led to the brain drain on the Black community. Acceptance in the dominant culture has proven to be a goal rather than the transformation of the Black community into a thriving community led by Black minds, business entrepreneurs, and community-oriented thinkers. Having only one voice to speak, one entertainer to perform on stage, one of a kind to represent the essence of the Black collective originates from the one slave who could go to the big house. Finding a way to cope should not entail a minority of symbolic gestures that leave behind the plurality of the Black community. The dash toward assimilation into another culture should not lead to a dismissal of a Renaissance potential for all. Social Black experience. There's nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. Nelson Mandela. Building a sure foundation when others see quicksand. Falling victim to several arrests and short prison sentences in the early 1970s led to a mistaken look upon release. The radical militancy had evaporated into street hustler glorification. The Black Panther spirit had been extinguished. The revolutionary impetus had given way to the sedative of disco, drugs, and the never-ending party. Younger and younger Black males were recruited into drug trafficking due to harsher laws for adult males. The clandestine goal of more and more Black males with a felony would keep them from the competitive trades, vocation, and professional job market. The education system appeared to have been stacked against the urban youth. The failure to educate the Black male had tumbled into the rural and small town areas as well. The call for change from Black leaders from within the system amounted to a tinkling cymbal, quietly rattling. The external pressure of a radical voice had dissipated. The substantive voice of strength would not appear until a half century after the 1960s. Black Lives Matter. I struggled to become a voice, but I missed the timing. That does not have to calculate as a missed opportunity. It simply means my time has not arrived. Too often, a premature challenge of the system will lead to a demise of full, impactful contribution. Where there is no vision, the people perish. My people perish for lack of knowledge. I perceive my mission as a flawed visionary that shall be filled with provocative facets. The more impressive the goal, the stronger the pull should be to run with the vision. The deeper I explore the foundation for collaborative change for the Black community, the clearer the vision's demand materialize. Whatever I had to say or to write had to make sense as a doable undertaking. Introducing a nonconformist ideology, my vision had to be rooted in something other than emotion and discomfort. I had to labor to raise a strategy from a direct action. Prison could not halt what I recognized as the conveyance of a message. The pen was the instrument to function as the conduit at my disposal. Whatever would be produced from my soul and spirit must not replicate the discriminatory ways of the current dominant powers. In addition, the Black hierarchy model must cease to exist. The gatekeepers of the status quo must be eliminated as well. The imperfect people and the impoverished people must see the vision as a means of redemption and prosperity, not another round of empty promises with colorful words and rhythmic deliverance. Theological. And now, Lord, what do I wait for and expect? My hope and expectations are in you. Psalm 39, verse 7, Amplified Bible Classic Edition. Having place of internal refuge. When I would desire to speed after my own imagination, I recall the need to have the power of the Almighty as the engine of my dreams and focus. As a result, I have no problem pursuing the pen to capture every thought and revelation for an appointed time. My hope and expectation demanded an origination from something greater than myself or capabilities. My desire to recover all could derive from my ego. Such an impetus would doom my efforts to failure and waste of time. My only hope for success resided in my having an internal place of refuge. I worked diligently to turn the prison confinement into a place of solitude. What was meant for my hurt would become my sanctuary and monastery. In this penal colony, I would open my spirit to receive revelations while seeing the practical and physical pioneering evolving into transformational reality. Peace and serenity will perform as my creative zone. The arrangement of cultural, economic, educational, political, and social interaction would dictate to a people the apropos form, which shall establish them as a successful nation. I only had to make sure my personal knowledge, limited by any scope of the imagination, did not interfere with what a divine impartation would supply for people eager to experience meaningful change. It would be my responsibility to present a framework that can only emerge from formal teaching and divine interpretation. Only by precision guidance would a successful outcome occur. I had no other course than to check my ego and operate by faith. I sought a balance. I did not want to become academically inclined until I dismissed faith, nor did I wish to zoom so heavenly high that my words meant nothing in the earth realm. Nothing that I delivered should appear to be a random exercise as an attempt to fill a trendy void for some high energy individuals. The imperfect people, the empowered people, require a lot of grunt work. They must feel in their spirit sincere compassion before they will take a bite into another promise movement. Tired people have grown tired of empty promises. Momentum will only emerge around their needs and not some utopian collection of promises. As a transparent discourse, the formal teaching must reveal the design, framework, and paragon, the implementation process to secure a manifestation of undertaking. A first century theologian was quick to point out faith without works is dead.